Hi Big Trapper and anyone else watching. I thought I'd go through this forum thread and just do a live walkthrough of how I would create this script or how I'd update this script that the Big Trapper has provided. It's going to be warts and all, completely raw. There'll probably be mistakes in there and typos or whatever. Just ignore those. Just follow along and hopefully you get something out of it. So essentially this forum thread that Big Trapper has done, making incrementally increasing marker numbers with the same macro button. So essentially in Audacity, Big Trapper wants to click a button, and each time clicks that button, it creates a marker, and it starts off being 1 and then keeps on going up and up and up and up by 1 each time. So what we're going to do is look at what he wants to happen. So create marker with Command B. So I've downloaded Audacity, and I think there might be a better way to do this. Then the next step is making the marker a string of 1, and then pressing return, and then making the next time it's pressed, the second marker should sequentially go up and select 2. And will be named 2, and then press enter again, and so on and so forth. So the script that's provided here, it doesn't look to be in SoundFlow syntax, but let's have a quick look at that and see what's going on. So I'm going to select that and copy it, and then come over here, and I've created a script in here, and I've assigned a keyboard shortcut. I'm just going to paste that here, and as you can see, the whole of this script, there's a whole bunch of underlines which basically say that the syntax is not valid syntax for SoundFlow. So looking through this, let's go from top to bottom. So initialize a variable to the track marker number. So this here, you're saying sf.userdata. Let's change this to what it probably should be, which would be global state. So global state is an object that is stored in SoundFlow that is reset. It's a blank object that is reset every time you restart SoundFlow, and you can store information in there until SoundFlow restarts. So just to clear that out, I'm just going to click restart to make sure there's nothing in the global state. But let's go through and change all of the instances of sf.userdata. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that, and I'm going to use Command D to go through and select every instance of that. So now instead of that, I'm going to write global state and replace that. So it replaces it all in for each individual time. So then I can see another couple of issues here. We've got to wait briefly to ensure label dialog is ready, and we've got an arbitrary wait time here of 100 milliseconds. So let's change that out because milliseconds is not a property within the wait function or the wait method. So if I delete that and use Control and spacebar, that's going to bring up the way to get to code hint what the properties are. So intervals in milliseconds is the property, I believe, that you're after. So now that's done, and I can see one more error down here that says log does not exist on Automation Root API. Log does not need SF in front of it. It just needs to be like that. So there, then we use Option Shift F, and just that'll format things. You can click Format up here as well, and that'll work to make sure it looks all right. I'm just going to do a couple of other things here. Just make this one single line. Oops, deleted a curly brace there. Put that back. So that's that. Then we've doing the text here. All right. Okay. So now I think I've got it all together. So right now, this looks like it's initializing the variable for the marker number. And because we're working in Audacity and we're using the global state, we want the global state variable or the property inside the global state to be very more specific, so that someone doesn't try to reuse it in any other scripts. So maybe for this, I would change the marker number. So if I go Command D and find all those, then use marker number, I'm going to change this to be what it would be in Audacity, which they call them labels. So I'm going to call it Audacity label number, like that. And now I've changed the instance in every situation there, in every occurrence of it. So now, looking at this, what we're doing is we're assigning to the global state. Actually, before I do that, let's walk through what the global state is. I'm going to comment all of this out and just move this down, and we'll just do some code up the top here. So if I log global state in SoundFlow like this, it comes up with a blank object. As you can see, a blank object here. So there's no properties inside that object. And if I was to say global state dot my name and make that equal to Kitch and run that before I log the global state, if I run that, as you can see, it creates a property in there, and that's what we want to happen. So now what we want to do is, if I wanted to remove that property, I believe if I set that to undefined, so global state my name undefined, and I run this again, as you can see, it clears out that global state. So global state can be used across different commands. There are better ways of doing things by storing JSON in a JSON file, but for something like this, it might be the way to go. So that's just an explanation of global state. So let's delete that out and see what we're trying to do with global state here. Okay, so we're initializing a persistent variable to the track label number. So I'm just going to go through and change these to label. Actually, label. Okay, and then to change this bottom one to a capital L. Okay, so now we're in here. If I throw the script here, and throwing the script means that everything below this point is not going to run, and I'm just going to go log global state. And if I run that, as you can see, it's saying global state dot Audacity label number equals global state Audacity label number, which right now on the first run would be undefined. And if it is undefined, it's using the logical OR operator, and it's saying that if this is undefined, then make it 1. But if it's not, if it is defined, then keep it as that. So now what we could do is we could get this line of code here, which is incrementing the label number. So if I put that up here, like that, and I put this, okay, so that's that. This is going to, actually we probably have it here. And if I restart SoundFlow, so the global state is blank again, and I'll reset the log there, and I use Control Shift and C to clear the log. So if I run this now, it's going to say Audacity label number is 1. If I run it again, 2, 3, 4, 5 every time I run the command. So the way that I'm running the command, by the way, is if I'm in the editor here, I can use command and return, and that will run the command again. I can also use the run command button here, or I can use a keyboard shortcut, which I've got set to Control X, and if I run that, it runs the command as well. So 3 different ways to run the command there. So now we can see that this is incrementing. So what we need to do is we need to set it up so that we're able to reset this, because being able to reset this number is important if we want to get back to where we were at the initial first run. And obviously we could clear out the global state by restarting SoundFlow, but a better way to do it would be to get the global state number, so the Audacity label number, and say set that to undefined. But we only want this to be set to undefined if a specific condition is met, and that condition would be that if we're holding down Option. So if I go if, and if I go event dot keyboard state dot has alt, and then we do open and close curly braces and move that into there, and then use the format button or Option Shift F. And so now if I'm holding down Alt or Option, that will reset or make this undefined, so it's a fresh start. So then we want to put all the rest of the stuff in the else statement. So ELSE like this, and move this all into here. So I'm noticing also with this, now we have the global state Audacity label number plus equals 1. So that's a way to increment it by 1, but there's also just incrementing by 1. All we'd need to do is just do plus plus like that, and that should do the same thing. So so it'll run through. If we're holding down Option, it's going to set it to undefined, so essentially resetting the Audacity label number. However, if we're not holding down Option, it's going to run this block here. So now we've done that, and we know that at the end of the script, it's always going to increment the number by 1. We need to put the stuff in here that we want to run. So I noticed in the script that was provided, so I notice here you're using Command plus B. So Big Trap is using Command plus B here. I think that there might be a better way to do this and make it a little bit more streamlined. I've downloaded Audacity and I've got it running here, and I've created some temporary audio. And I noticed that under Edit, we've got labels, and then we've got some options here. So add label at selection and paste text to new label. So if I was going to paste text to new label, obviously that's stuff that's in the keyboard. So let's see if that works. So if I go back over here, and I'm just going to write test here, and I'm going to select that text, and I'm going to go copy, and I can delete that now. So now that's in the clipboard. If I use Command V, that's going to paste that out. So if I come back over to Audacity and I go Edit and I go Labels and I go Paste Text to New Label, and that's going to create a label at that point. So that's a great way of getting all of that information into Audacity very, very quickly. So let's see if we can implement that in a script. I'm just going to undo this. So now we come back in here, and let's work on that in here. So we'll delete that out. And what I'm going to do is, first of all, the first step is I'm going to clear the clipboard. So to clear the clipboard, I'm going to use sf.clipboard.clear. And essentially that just removes anything from the clipboard. So the next step is we're going to set the value of the Audacity label number to the clipboard. So I'm going to go sf.clipboard.set text. And then inside here, I'm going to go text for the text property. And for the text property, I'm going to put the global state Audacity label number, but this needs to be a string. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another variable here, const, and we're going to say label text, and we're going to go equals, and we're going to convert this to a string like so. So now that this is a string, as you can see, it's a string there, as compared with this, which was a number, or it's actually any, but I'm going to use the label text here to put it into the clipboard. So now that it's in the clipboard, I'm going to wait for, I'll make this just a one-liner because it's easier to understand. I'm going to go SF. This is an important step to make sure that it doesn't go too quickly. And that's sf.clipboard, and then I'm going to say wait for text, because the clipboard was empty after we emptied it here. Then we put text into it, and then we're waiting for the text to be inputted. So now that's done. The next step is we want to do a menu click in Audacity to select Edit, then Labels, paste text to new label. So Edit, Labels, paste text to new labels. And we've got to make sure that the spelling, punctuation, and everything is all exactly, the capitalization, everything is exactly as it's seen here. So Edit, Labels, paste text to new label. So let's write that in. So go SF, so let's just create this path first. I'm going to go Edit, Labels, and paste, paste text to new label. And we're going to use this here. I'm just going to create what we need to do first. We need to get the application first, so that we can use the menu click function. We could actually do this in by creating a separate macro, but there's an easier way to do it. So if I do pick, if I click pick here, Command Tab over to Audacity, and then I'm just going to select the main window here and click that. And as you can see, it makes a path to the main window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the main window path, and now we have const, and we call this Audacity equals. So now we've got a function. So now we've got a variable that's storing the application Audacity. So for Audacity, on this next line here, I'm going to say Audacity, and then I'm going to type in menu click, and then for that we've got a menu path. So I'm using Command Spacebar to get these code hints coming up. And now in here, I'm going to copy this path here, and I'm going to paste that right there. So now that that's done, we can then, so after this is pasted, we remember from the initial seeing how it worked that we need to press return. So we're going to use a keyboard simulation, which is the least. It's not a great way to use to automate applications using keyboard and mouse simulation, but in this situation, it may be the only way. There might be some more investigation that needs to be done to work out a better way to do it. But to do that, we're just going to go sf.keyboard and .press, and inside that we've got keys, and I'm going to do probably I'll have, instead of return, I think escape might work. So let's just try return first. Okay, let's start like that. So now, so this is essentially going to create the global state Audacity label number if it doesn't already exist, and then it's going to convert that label, the Audacity label number, to text. Then we're going to clear the clipboard. Then we're going to set the value of the label text into the clipboard. Then we're going to wait for the clipboard to be populated. Then we're going to, in Audacity, we're going to do a menu click, edit labels, paste text to new label. I believe that's right. And then we're going to press return. And so for this here, whenever I put a keyboard simulation in code, I like to write down what it's for so that when I come back to it, it makes sense. So we're just going to say accept text, label text. Okay, so it's just accepting the label text there. And then once that's done, we're incrementing the number. And so if we press Option, it's going to make it undefined, resetting it. But if we run it, it should be good. So now if we come over to Audacity and we can test this out, I'm going to go Control X, and that's going to create 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, and now if I undo that, back to there, and if I hold down, if I go back to this and I go Option and run the command, it's cleared out the global state Audacity label number. And what we can do here is, just so we know what's happened, we can go log cleared. So, whoops. The label number has been reset. Okay, like that. So let's run this now. So if I run Option and run this, it comes up and says the label number has been reset. So now if I come over to Audacity and run the keyboard shortcut, Control X, it becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So now all you would need to do is create a deck that you want to put this onto. So I'm just going to go New Deck, Test Deck, and then I'm just going to drag this onto a new deck. I'm going to make this display on, let me see, on my Stream Deck Standard, and I'm going to show that. So on my Stream Deck Standard, I've got a button now that says Audacity Increment Marker Number, and if I go over to Audacity and I just undo all of these, if I hold down Option and click the button on the Stream Deck, it'll say the label number has been reset. And so now if I click Audacity Increment marker number here, that will work. Move the mouse here, do it again, do it again, do it again, and so on and so forth. So that should work. So I hope that answers the question you had, Big Trapper, and anyone else who wanted to watch and maybe learn a bit about the process of how I go about creating scripts. But yeah, I hope that helps, and have a great day.